may sound somewhat blasphemous, but perhaps this is what it was like for Adam and Eve before the fall, a complete and utter sharing of themselves. So I found that very interesting. I'll use that as a bit of a transition because besides simply recreation, of course, the primary objective of sex is the next generation. And that, in fact, becomes a huge plot point in the very last pages of the second of the two-part series of Friend and Ally and Foes and Rivals, when it forces Nicole 5 to make an extremely difficult decision. She tells her boyfriend, who she loves very, very much, I'm just a doll. I'm a made thing. I am made to help people. I can't make more of them. You need one of your own kind. You don't need me. And then she abandons him. She hated herself for what she did, but she was convinced it was the right thing to do, because otherwise he would grow old and die with no children. She would not grow old and die. And then, just like one of the Tolkien's elves, she would pass west over the sea back to her homeland. She didn't want that to happen, so she screwed her courage up to the point where she didn't allow it to happen. In other cases, you have eventually Faustina, who is Demi, marry a normal human, Robert Wade, and they have, five children, and then she has her second husband, because he died in an accident, and she has 2 more, and of her 7 children, 5 of them are demi-human. So the genetic modifications do breed true mostly, not in all cases. Robert and Ilde, I think. Where's the other one? Julian. I've not discussed the 2 youngest children, so I'm not sure. But I know I've written about Robert, and I know he's just human. And he finds himself somewhat uncomfortable around his brothers and sisters who can do things with their minds that he finds very difficult to understand. And by the time he's a teenager, it's become this, it turns fortunately into a very healthy competition. They don't look down on him for being merely human, and he doesn't look up at them or being these godlike creatures the way sometimes his mother talks, because she's got a huge ego problem. Also, Gary and Henge's 2 children, Aurelia and Roland, they also are demi-human. And someday when I write about them, I've written a little bit about Roland. He actually crops up in Robert's story. Roland falls in love with and marries a normie, a human, but she's also an albino, so that'll be an interesting genetic mix to add to their family. However, Roland and Aurelia are also half of what their mother is. Again, nanomaterials and star stuff. So they are demi-human, but different yet again. But the point of this shows that they can still breed, and the changes, by and large, seem to be woven into their genes going forward. I would be curious, say, to look 300 years ahead, 10 generations, and see, does it wear away after time? Do they slowly regress to the mean and just become normal humans with maybe a few little quirks in their nervous system? Or does it breed true? I wonder if we encounter another raving egotist like Faustina Hartman, would he or she get the demi-humans together and set up a breeding program to make sure that their bloodline stays pure, for lack of a better term? I mean, there's so few of them, I think that you would end up attenuating the bloodline to the point they'd be a bunch of inbred, drooling bastards in no time at all. But that is too far in the future. That is our introduction to sex in machine civilization. I hope you've found it as interesting as I have. Next week, we'll be covering the 3rd taboo topic of religion. But if anyone else does have any questions, please write in and let me know, and I'll try to address them. Otherwise, we will be covering religion. As always, this is your host, Clayton Barnett. Thank you for listening, and have a good week.